Now, once the order is placed by the user, order, what kind of data this will generate? Date and time, items, location, restaurant, bill amount, maybe discount, right? Maybe the type of device, whether it is Android, iOS, or it is a web application. Now comes the big picture. This is my data team. Now, what kind of analysis they can do? What kind of analysis they can do? What type of analysis they can do? Number one is descriptive. Second one is predictive, diagnostic, prescriptive. These are the four major categories in which the analysis can be performed. Using this data, this is my historical data, right? Historical. Using this data, can they prepare themselves for Diwali 2025? Can they prepare themselves for Diwali 2025? The answer is yes, definitely they can.
The types of analysis. Types of analysis. So, what that means, first of all, if this is my data, as collected by Zomato, let's take the example of Zomato again, so that we are able to write some analysis. So let's say this is the mobile application, but this is the user side, user application, which you and I use. This is another application, which is my delivery partner application. Delivery partners application. Okay? Now, once a order is placed by the user, order, what kind of data this will generate? Date and time, items, location, restaurant, bill amount, maybe discount, right? Maybe the type of device, whether it is Android, iOS, or it is a web application. Now, when this order is assigned to the delivery partner to deliver it, then once the order is delivered, then what kind of data is generated by the application? Again, date and time of delivery, duration it took to deliver, the start, location, and the end location, maybe the tip amount and the total earning from this particular delivery. Now, this data, all this data goes to a centralized storage, which we have understood is a database. As of now, please don't worry about what it is. You can assume that there is a big computer sitting in a very good AC room where all this data can come inside and can be preserved. It's a very big AC room. That's what a database is. So right now, this is my data storage. Data storage. Now comes the big picture. This is my data team. Now, what kind of analysis they can do? What kind of analysis they can do? What type of analysis they can do. Number one is descriptive. Second one is predictive, diagnostic, prescriptive. These are the four major categories in which the analysis can be performed. Let's try to understand each category. Number one is descriptive. Let me write over here. Descriptive. Descriptive basically means to describe. Now here I am trying to describe my data. I am trying to explain the data. I am trying to make or fetch meaning out of it. Meaning out of it. Basically, think it in this way. You have a lot of data. Now, how you will make meaning out of it? Basically, how you will understand what data you have collected, what it is trying to tell you, what it comes with. For example, if I go back to the data which is getting generated by this application, this one, then if I have to perform descriptive analytics, what kind of questions I may answer using this data? Maybe number one is from which location most of the orders are getting placed. If I can answer this question using this data, I have understood something about the data. So this is helping me to understand the data. Let's say I want to understand top 3 restaurant. Now this will again help me to understand the data, right? That what are the restaurants that are popular among the users. Number third, top 3 item getting sold. Again, if I can answer this question using the data, it is helping me to better understand the data, right? What is most popular device through which orders are placed? This can help me understand whether Android is more popular or iPhones, or maybe iOS is more popular, or web applications are more popular. Again, the point that I'm trying to make is descriptive analytics or descriptive analysis basically means I am trying to understand my data in a better way so that I know what exactly the data is trying to tell us. It is trying to help me answer few business problems or few business questions, and I'm trying to make sense out of the data. I'm trying to fetch relevant information which is useful for my business from the data. That's what descriptive analytics is. Now, definitely we need some kind of measures. We need some kind of techniques. We need some kind of tools to do this, but we will talk about it. But this is what descriptive analytics is. Is that clear, everyone? Descriptive. Now comes predictive. And remember, there is one thing. There is no order in it. In descriptive, predictive, diagnostic, prescriptive, there is no order. These are 4 distinct categories, basically nominal. Okay? So when we talk about predictive analytics, that basically means to predict using historical or available data. Available data. Let's say I have collected this data for, let's say, 1 million deliveries. 1 million deliveries that happened in past 1 year. Let's assume. Now, using this data, can I try to predict what will happen next? Or let me take a better example. Let's say Zomato has collected data for all the last 5 Diwalis that they have served. So, data about all orders placed in last 5 Diwalis. For example, 2020, 22, 23, and 24. They have collected this data for all the Diwali orders on the day of Diwali, how the orders happened. Now, using this data, this is my historical data, right? Historical. Using this data, can they prepare themselves for Diwali 2025? Can they prepare themselves for Diwali 2025? The answer is yes, definitely they can. But how they will do it? Using predictive analytics. Basically, they want to predict what will happen next based on what has happened in the past. That's what predictive is. So basically, they might want to find out which item will be sold, or I would say ordered, will be ordered the most on Diwali day. And how this can help them in their business? They can stock that, right? They can ask all the restaurants to make sure that this particular order is available, and they can also charge surcharge fees. So that's like additional revenue for them, right? Because they know that people are going to order this. Maybe they can also figure out the number of orders happening between 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Now, this can help them to make sure that these many delivery partners are on the ground so that they can serve. Because if they are unable to serve on time, that's a business loss. So this can be done using predictive analytics. They are trying to predict what will happen based on what has happened. Diagnostic. Diagnostic means to diagnose. To diagnose. To find why something happened. It is like performing investigation. I am trying to investigate why something happened. For example, let's say on some day, let me write the case over here. Let's say on Sunday, the number of deliveries at Delhi Delhi dropped by 20%. Now, this is a very great business question. Why? Question is why? So you have a problem that has happened. Now the business owners, the business stakeholders, they want to understand why hua kya tha, why it happened, so that they can make sure that these things are not getting happened in the next time. So they are trying to investigate the problem. Now, something might have happened, but this is what your diagnostic analytics is, where you are trying to investigate by asking series of questions. For example, first question for this you can ask, uh, at what all locations the drop was seen. So is the drop seen on all the locations of the Delhi, or is it in specific locations? Then maybe, let's say the answer is in few locations. Then maybe you can check, what was the item ordered. Maybe you can check which item was getting ordered from these locations where the drop in order was seen. Then maybe you want to also look at some external data. Is the internet was fine? You also want to look at some application related data. Is the application running fine? You also want to maybe look at the time when it happened. At what time it happened? So in nutshell, you are asking a series of questions, and how will it will be answered? You have to again go back to the data, investigate it, find out the answer, and then try to create maybe try to create the dots, try to connect the dots to actually reach to the final answer, why it happened. So it's like working as a detective, where you are starting with the problem, then you are trying to break the problem, then you are trying to connect the dots, again going back to the data, finding the answer, connecting the dot, and then finally coming to conclusion. That's what diagnostic analytics is. Finally, we have prescriptive. Prescriptive means now you know the problem, now you know why it happened, now you are giving some suggestions to the team to make sure that it does not happen next time. So once the problem is known and the reason is also known, then prescriptive analytics is used to suggest changes to avoid the case in the future. For example, in this case, after doing the investigation in this case, you found that the number of orders were going down is because, or the number of orders in specific locations were down is because the payment gateway was not functioning. let's say we are using a third party, or Zomato using third party to get the payments done. And let's say the orders were not getting made because people were not able to make payment. And this is the reason why the number of orders, or the orders, dropped by 20%. Now, what is the solution for this? The solution is multiple payment gateways at a specific time for these specific locations, right? So now what you will do, you will make sure that for these specific locations where the order number was high, but Zomato was not able to accept these orders because of the failure of payment gateway, they will allot additional payment gateway to these locations, so that at these particular time the order can be fulfilled and the order can be accepted fast, right? So this is what prescriptive it. We are trying to prescribe. We are trying to prescribe measures to avoid it, right? So basically, this is how this person who is a part of data team will try to solve your problem, or will try to solve the problem of any business. But remember one thing, this is not the task of one person. I have written data team, I have not written data engineering, data analyst, I have not written that. Remember one thing, being a data analyst, you do not have to perform everything. Mostly data analysts work with this side, work with this side, and work with this side. But predictive is something which is majorly done by data scientists, right? And then we have data engineering also. We have the AI engineers, and so many fields are coming nowadays. But in nutshell, a single person cannot do everything. There are specialized team which carry out these tasks. But what they carry, this is what they carry: descriptive, predictive, prescriptive, and diagnostic.